Hello,
Good
good
morning.
morning,
Good afternoon.
good evening, wherever you are. We know that my dog has something to say about it. So we're all welcoming you right here, right now to Rockin the Love. I'm Robyn.
Gil, and we're really glad that you've joined us here on this Wednesday, the first Wednesday of December 2022. December of 2022. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we're rolling right into a new year coming up very soon.
Yes, it is super loud here. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Okay. Well, then we will continue, even though it's loud. So
Life is happening.
what, what do we know about today? What are we doing?
You tell
Okay,
me.
I'll tell you. So we are working on the theme today of gratitude groove. So we're going to be just standing in the gratitude for the past year, for the noise in the room, for all that's new and all that's old. And we have a fantastic guest to chat with about the topic and the idea of gratitude, what it means, and why it's important. And so we're excited.
Very excited. Very excited. So, how was so? Okay, first of all, everyone who's here, do us a favor and let us know you're here. Say hello. We love to chat with you and hear with you. And know I see Wayne out there from Calgary. So good to see you, Wayne.
Hey, Wayne.
Welcome. So let us know you're here, what's going on for you. And as we embark on this journey of gratitude, we'd love to just get your comments and love for you to like our page, give us your info, let us know how we can find you, and let us know anything you want to let us know, like what you want to see on the show or anything that's coming up in your life that you'd like to have talked about in terms of a topic, because we love to be topical.
And, the show works because we get a chance to chat not only with each other and with our guests, but with each of you. So that's the key is that we get to hear questions and input, and so that really helps. So hello, John. Good to see you.
Here and queer, you go. Woohoo. Okay. So now moving on. How was your week?
My week has been very good. It's been very good. It's been quiet. Um, everyone's not here, so it's just me and in the place, and so it's been a good week though, and I'm excited. I got a newsletter article done already yesterday, and all the things I'm supposed to have done. So that's really cool. So I'm just keeping up. It's just doing the normal stuff, and I'm grateful for it.
Oh, cool. Cool. So, I think this is one of the places, and this is probably another show, but where men and women are so different. So different.
How was your week?
Thanks for asking. Um, uh, my week was fun. My week was good, but I mean, I was thinking about it in relationship to, yes, the fact that you didn't ask that came into my mind, but I was thinking like my answer would be so much more holiday related because it's like, oh, it's December, and that sets off a whole different thing in me as a woman, and I don't. Does what happens for you? Let me not assume.
Well, I do have a couple of things to be concerned about, but I'm not there yet. I'm not concerned yet. So that's how it is with me. I'm always behind a little bit on the holidays.
Well,
However, I do have some stuff I have to have done by Sunday because I volunteered to buy some gifts and I need to go out and do it. So
yeah. Well, and I think that's what sets me in motion because for a good portion of my life, I well, let's just say after being a teenager, when you think you're an adult, and you think you can rearrange your life and plan. You like I always think I am going to be ready for the holidays, and it's going to look this way, and it's going to be easy and different and able to enjoy them in a new way. And yeah, that it's not easy. It's not easy.
Well, the thing I observe is that sometimes, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my observation is that you have some really clear ideas about what you want it to look like. And my idea of the holiday is very different. Mine is, oh, it's a holiday. I don't have to do anything. I can rest. I can relax. And your idea is, but we have to have certain decorations and certain meals and certain, certain all kinds of things like that. And that's not, and though I think that makes it a very different experience for us.
So how does your idea of a holiday where you can relax and not do anything differ from every day? I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're not supposed to call me out like that. That's
Well,
just not
but
okay.
I mean, a little bit, but I mean, really, because what's the difference? Because there's a different bent on that, clearly. You know what I mean? It's like I don't understand. I'm
Well,
ready.
it's different because there's a level at which we can step back from doing a lot of things, and everyone's hanging out at home. People aren't at school, people aren't at work, people aren't, there's a shift in the whole atmosphere of what's going on. And that's where that feeling of just hanging out
Oh,
comes in.
okay.
Oh, so John's complimenting you.
Mm. Well, but even what John's saying. So yes, we had a practitioner dinner, and it's like I mean, there was for me there was purpose in doing it. December 3rd as opposed to December 15th, because it really was about starting the season and getting in a joyous seasonal mode. And like in my mind, I think I hope that continues through the month. I mean, when you were here, I sent Christmas presents back with you for Christmas, and I told you that, I mean, yes, I'm a woman. Okay, I'm a stereotypical woman that I
Not really.
okay, okay, but in this sense, I told Gil that when I get to his house, that I'm just going to stay home when he goes to work and bake all day, which is hysterical. I
It,
mean,
it is hysterical.
it's hysterical. But there's a part in me that does that, that feels that, or that's part of the illusion of what we.
But that to you at some level is the doing nothing. See, because normally you would be writing emails and taking calls and going to meetings. And if you could bake all day, wow, what a change that would be.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't happen. Because it's more of like some uh father knows best, or the Huxtables, or whoever. Like, it's more of some ideal all-American family type thing where the table's perfectly set and the cookies are baked, and I don't know.
Well, I think in recent years we've pretty much established that that's bullshit. If I'm not incorrect in saying so, and I know this doesn't go out over the air, so we're okay. Um,
Well, but I don't know that it is. I mean, I think there's balance.
yeah.
I mean, it just because I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't
So
know.
what makes you grateful for the holidays?
That I don't have to bake. No, I'm just kidding. What makes me grateful? I mean, I love the holidays. I love the idea of being with family, and hanging out, and in some ways in doing nothing. But it's here's the deal. Here's the deal. I have got it.
Okay.
It's the illusion of doing nothing because everything's done. So
Right.
you've somewhere along the way, everything has been done, you know, and you know that the turkey is in the oven and the cookies are baked and all of those things, and it's like it's just that it's yeah, it's an illusion. I'm all into illusion. That's why I work in this industry. It's all an illusion.
So, uh, so it makes me think of that's why we like to go, or I think many people like to go away often, because when you're away from your home, there's there's not the same list of things to be done because they're all at home. You can't do them anyway. So more of the illusion exists of there's nothing to do. Whatever you can do is just what you focus on.
Yeah.
And I was just going to ask you, thinking about, all the families there and everything. So how'd that work out for us on the last holiday, you think? How'd that, how'd that go?
Well, I didn't say that I don't have an illusion about having different family. That's just a whole nother conversation, you
No,
know?
it was very fun, but it was very intense. Yes, there was no illusions of having everything done on that trip. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
All right. Well,
you want to move on?
yeah, this is clearly a whole nother thing. So I think that it's time. It's time for
Good news?
good news. And
All
now the
right.
good news. So what do you got?
Well, I have a few things because we were ready to do this show last week, and then we had technical difficulties, which, by the way, everybody, we apologize for. Um, we just had issues with internet in multiple places, so we hung it up. Um, but just really quickly, um, I saw a story about some lottery winners in Canada that they're giving away virtually all of their winnings. They won $1 million and they're giving it to various local charities in their hometown. And I just thought it was really cool. And that was cool. Another interesting good news piece I saw was about this whole thing. They've done a really in-depth study on 4-day work weeks and discovered, which we've said at various times, but this one showed it even more so, that not only do workers benefit, but companies benefit from having a shorter work week because workers are more productive, and and the company actually makes more money. They have fewer people asking for taking days off. They have fewer people resigning from their job, so they're saving money on training. There's all kinds of stuff that happens because people feel like they're not overwhelmed. So
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting. And in fact, Iceland started some stuff in the like 2015 or so, and they have now rolled it out to where it's at somewhere close to 86% of their workers are on a 4-day work week
Yeah.
because they found it to be so successful.
Yeah, I
And
think
the,
that's right.
and the final thing I wanted to share was, it's really good news when you can sell your old Birkenstocks. And apparently Steve Jobs' old Birkenstocks have sold for $218,000. So it's a hey, go eBay. What do you got?
Interesting. Interesting what we'll pay for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you have so many because uh I looked at stuff and I was like, oh, the first solar car has gone on the production line. They're starting to make solar cars. Like, oh, that's great, and the coral reefs are growing back more here and faster than anyone expected. I was like, that's great. But all the other stories I saw were like about connection. And I was so drawn into connection that I didn't know what story to go with. So, I mean, whether I should go with the dog that disrupted the couple's wedding, who the couple later adopted the dog, or the people who are turning 100 years old, a couple that's turning 100 years old. They live in one lives, I think, in the UK, and the other one in in America, and they're turning 100 years old. They've never met, and they've been pen pals for 84 years.
Oh my gosh.
And they're not. It's not a romantic thing. Even when the man's husband died after several years ago, they're just good friends and love talking and it just got me started. It's got me thinking about the holidays and about everything and about connection and how it's so like there were so many personal stories that made me really happy because I just feel like that's where we're at, when we can really learn about the connection, then we can really move the whole world to the next place.
Isn't that what relationship is? It's just connection.
It's just connection.
Okay.
So
So I'm gonna
with,
say let's move on, huh?
I'm going to say that, and we're going to leave John out there tap dancing
With
Christmas
Christmas
trees,
trees.
Christmas trees, making him grateful. And we're going to go to break. And we'll see you right back here, because you don't want to miss our next guest, Christopher Brown, on New Thought Media Network. Hello, welcome back. I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil, and this is Rockin the Love, and we are happy to have you joining us back here. And if you're just joining us, we are getting ready to introduce our guest, and that is that was a
Christopher
cue.
Brown.
Christopher Brown is joining us. There he is, right there. He's the man of the hour, and apparently our dog thinks so too. Wow. So Christopher is a good friend of ours. Oh, he's muted or something. I see his mouth moving. So he's a good friend of ours. We're excited to have him here. And okay, I was just going to say that for those of you who don't know him, he's incredibly insightful. You can't hear us either. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Can anybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. All right. So it's just Christopher having the issue. All
It's
right.
like
Well,
it's like karma. We can all still hear you.
so in my introduction that I wrote on Facebook, I noted that Christopher seldom tells anyone what they want to hear, but he only says things that he genuinely believes. And apparently the universe has told him, don't talk to us because he might not say what we wanted to say. Aha.
I think he's
I'm back.
Ah, there he is.
Yay!
Nice
Reboot.
to have you. Nice to have you on the show, Christopher.
Thank you. I hope you said wonderful things while I was gone.
Oh, I don't know how many wonderful things you said. So, I just say that you're a really good friend and that you're insightful and we appreciate you very much. And so thanks for being here.
Oh. Well, I'm glad to help out. I know you were desperate.
Yes. Yes, we just couldn't find anyone that was willing to come
Exactly.
on the show.
Well, I'm very pleased to be here.
well. Christopher is someone who always has an opinion, in my opinion. So let's talk, because I was thinking when we were talking before that Christopher should really be in on that conversation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I could hear his brain.
Oh
So
yeah.
so gratitude. Gratitude is the topic. And
Yeah.
I feel like we go in phases where these words pop up and become super popular, and so everywhere you look, there's gratitude written on a t-shirt or on a recyclable bag or something like that. So where are you on gratitude? Why, you tell me, what is it to you?
It's probably the most powerful spiritual practice you can do is to keep that before you. That thought of gratitude, seeing the glass half full as opposed to half empty. We know that a grateful heart, having a grateful heart calls us to focus on our blessings, not our complaints. And that's so important because it's so easy to confirm our complaints by looking around at life and seeing, well, yeah, life's not showing up the way I want it to. Life sucks right now. And we can go on with that. Or if we remember, and simply remember to come back, just to stop and reboot like I just did. What am I grateful for? I've got a quick story here. This is will hopefully illustrate this, which was profound. It changed my life. It was probably 25 years ago. I am having severe back pain, and I'm having to work at the same time, and it's been going on for years, and I haven't found relief. And I'm just moping, and why me, and just life sucks. So with that in mind, I'm walking down the street, and I see this blind man with his cane clicking along, and it stops me. And I think, listen to your complaints. Why are you focusing on this? Would you trade with that blind man? Would you give away your eyes for the pain in your back? Would you actually do that? And the answer was no. I would take the pain. I love my eyes. I didn't even remember that I had eyes. And then I'm walking. And all of a sudden, the fact that I have a job and that I'm going to the job, and yes, it's going to hurt today, but how grateful I am for all of it. Maybe not the pain, but maybe the pain also because it got me to see what I was missing. This is what I call the spiritual 2x4, the whack. Ugh. And it stayed with me ever since. So,
Yeah.
am I a champion for my complaints, or am I a champion for my blessings? Because as we know in this philosophy, what we focus on tends to grow. So let's grow a beautiful garden.
Yeah, I think we all, and I've been reading this in books recently and stuff, that we're really good at naming the problem. This is what's wrong. This is where it's wrong. This is why it's wrong. This is who made it wrong. Whether it's pain in our back or an issue in society, we can pin out all the pieces to it instead of looking at what's right and what's the right that I want to expand on. And I think that's the kind of the gratitude thing is what can I, and when I take the minute to be grateful, it shifts how I feel.
Yep.
It totally shifts. And when I feel myself being kind of resentful or angry about something, that shifts how I feel too. I mean, I just spiral into it more. Yeah.
And I want to share a quote about that says, "It's a funny thing about life. Once you begin to take note of the things you are grateful for, you begin to lose sight of the things that you lack."
Beautiful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that brings up the point. What do we lack? Really?
That one, is it more than just a thought, or is it simply a thought? The idea that I am lacking, that I am insufficient, that I don't have the means, that I need more. When has having more made you really happy? If we're not happy with what we have, having more of that same thing isn't going to make us happy. It's really our relationship to what's going on in the moment. And if we can remember that. Quick example. Some people might really like the Saints Go Marching In song. I don't like it, but some people really like it. So is it the song, or is it my relationship to that particular song? Or how many times I've heard it, like Santana, they play on the radio incessantly. I can't stand Santana now because it's ruined for me. Santana hasn't changed. The music hasn't changed, but my relationship to the music changes. So I've always got to take a look at what is my relationship to what's going on and how am I engaging in life? And it's the inside job. It's what do I want in life? Do I want to be happy, peaceful, kind, or do I want to be right? And do I want to hold on to, I hate that song? You get the idea. How do I want to dance? How do I want to dance?
Well, it goes back to the whole basis of this show, is that it's all about the relationship with ourself.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about our relationship with ourself and with love.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody, and thank you. But I mean, it's true. And the journey is to keep remembering and to keep finding the new ways to, uplift that and hold that and anchor that and help us remember that, It's like the Meister Eckhart saying of, if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, that would be enough. It's like, if we can walk through our day really being grateful and grateful in the moments when we're not, or when it doesn't feel the way we thought it would, or when it looks different, or when we don't understand, I mean, that's the work. That's the job, finding how we authentically connect with that, right? And bring us back to that place.
Well, I was just thinking, today I had the experience of basically screwing up, messing up, not putting on my calendar a funeral, a memorial service today. That was this morning. And fortunately, I was texting someone. They said, "Are you coming?" And I'm like, "Where?" And so I figured it out, and I wasn't able to make it there in time, but I did make it to the graveside service and was able to just be there and be present. But I was thinking about how easy it would be for me to be really pissed off at myself about that, to to hold all kinds of things about how, what I didn't do right, what's not right. And yet and I'm saying this because what I realize is I was grateful that I made it to where I did get to. I was grateful that I could show up and you know, just say, yes, I'm here. And so instead of making it into a thing that it could be really negative, I was grateful for what was. So I was grateful that this person told me, "Hey, where are you?" And that those kinds of things happened. And I can be in gratitude for that.
That's
Yeah,
huge. That's great.
grateful for what was as opposed to what was missing.
Yeah.
It's grateful for the experience that we're having in this moment, receiving it and giving it the sacred yes. Yes, this is it. And without the shame or beating ourselves up for what is missing, because the mind loves to do that. What is missing from this? We can always use more. That's the thought. Or we could be grateful for what we have now, what has been given. But the mind jumps in. The mind just really jumps in and says, no, but I would really like to have a better relationship, a better food experience, a better, name whatever you want. This is that always longing for something more as opposed to being grateful for what has been given, what is here now.
I need to give more to my job. I need to give more to
Yes.
this. I need to give more to that. I need to, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
endless. There's this fortune cookie that I got 50 years ago. It's on one of my check. Anyway, it's something that I look at a lot, and it always brings me back. And it says, "Uncherished gifts vanish." Uncherished gifts vanish. If I don't recognize what the gifts have already been given, they vanish because I no longer see them. And I think this is what Jesus said, for those that have, more will be given. And for those that have not, even that which we have will be taken away. Meaning, if we don't, it's the fortune cookie again. If we don't see what we have, it will lose it. We'll lose it because we won't see it. But if we do recognize it, then that's our focus, and more will be given along those lines. And that's how I interpret that quote.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. Total sense. I know yeah, go ahead, Robyn.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, it makes total sense to me because if we can't see it, we can't recognize if there's more coming anyway. So, the more we see and acknowledge, and yeah, it actually, yeah, it actually leads me to another quote, that a Buddhist proverb: "Enough is a feast."
Oh, yes.
And I love that. I had to think about it. Like at first I was like, wait, what? But then yeah, enough is a feast. And it's kind of where I feel like, lately I've been just trying to be with what is and not make anything more out of it or anything less, or try to figure out why so and so is always in a bad mood, or why this is happening, or all the things that are swirling around me. And it's like, just being able to breathe and be with what truly is, as opposed to all the exterior things, and yeah.
I just wanted to mention John's comment. Thank you, John. Maybe one could also say uncherished people will go away. And I think that's the same thing. It's just a matter of being in gratitude for those for anything, whether it's a person or a thing or an opportunity or a, you know, it's not dependent on what it is. It's just a matter of recognizing that, oh, that's in my life and that's special.
Yeah. See, we tend to put things in order of value.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way the mind works, and of course. And so it's like, what is it that we want again? How much, you know? And in the end, you know, I was in hospice for 10 years as a volunteer, and I got to see a lot of the endings and what was really important. What was really important was the touch, was a couple little shards of ice, a comforting word, you know, and just to be present there to the suffering that was going on and the transition that was happening. And so what that taught me is it wasn't what we really want, isn't what we think we want. We think we're chasing this illusion of this will make us happy. Connection makes us happy. And I love the show. I mean, it's all about connection. And it's about feeling the presence of another. And when I asked Susan, we were going to Costco. And of course, that's where we do our best work, on the drive to Costco, chatting in the car. You too, probably. So I asked her, what are you grateful for? When I bring up the word gratitude, what comes to mind? How does it feel to be grateful? And she said, well, you know, the whole world feels a little cleaner, a little fresher. It feels a little brighter. And, you know, when I'm feeling grateful, I feel seen and I feel like I belong somehow. And I can't explain it. I just feel like I belong. I went, wow. And I think what happens when we drop into gratitude, we reconnect with life. We reconnect with kind of the magic. And I think our mind starts to slow down a little bit so we can actually see more clearly. And Susan was describing it. When we are in gratitude or in love, I think there's really very similar. Or in deep appreciation, you know, it's all that same feeling of just like, wow. And I think the power of gratitude is it stops us and it makes us recognize again what we've been missing. And I think that's the key, missing in our relationships, how much better we could be. Not that we need to be, but we could be. We could be the person our dog thinks we are.
So what struck me there in that is being in love. And what I thought of was, wow, that's a great connection there. That's a great example, because when someone is in love, when they say they're in love, they're really in extreme gratitude for another human being. And they're in so much gratitude that they appreciate the stuff that seems weird to them or doesn't quite fit in, instead of deciding that stuff's wrong and needs to be changed, which is what often happens to us later, because we look over the space of gratitude and we start moving into judgment.
Yeah. Then again, my mantra always is, what is it I want? Not what I don't want. What is it that I want in this moment? And just asking the question calls forth the possibilities. What is it that I want? And that in itself, just stopping and asking the question can break the trance of the negative thinking or my complaints, my litany of complaints that tends to march on by. Moving into just dropping into what is it that I want? What am I grateful for in this moment? There's an example that Marshall Rosenberg, who started, was brilliant in nonviolent communication, and he was doing a workshop for the Quakers. This is back east, and he loves the Quakers, and they had a great time. And when he got there to the meeting, he'd start into his lecture, and about an hour and a half or so, they would break and they would have this gratitude circle. And Marshall went, "What?" It's like, you're interrupting. And they'd have this 5-minute circle, and then they'd get back into it, and they'd go another hour and a half, 2 hours max. They'd have another circle. And by the end of the 3 days, there was a little, there was a get-together dinner. And everyone was commenting to Marshall saying, "Wow, what a great way of looking at the world. You presented such wonderful things." And he said, "And we were taking away a lot, but what have you learned from us?" And Marshall said, "Well, I hate those gratitude circles, but I'm going to include them in all of my lectures from now on." because they worked. They broke the trance. They broke what was happening in the room in terms of, we get caught up in, well, this meeting isn't going the way I want it to, and I don't like this person. I wish they would shut up. And it brings us back to, that's just my mind talking. That's not really what's going on. That's only happening in my mind. And so the gratitude circles broke the trance. And the act of actually that happening is like, wow. And we know gratitude works. We know gratitude journals actually work. They reduce stress. They help with healing, emotional, physical. Why don't we do it?
Well, I think so. I think it's what you're talking about in terms of like it being related to being in love. I think that's really a great analogy, because when you're in love, in the beginning stages anyway, you're so aware of your circumstances and the circumstances around you and the newness and the possibility, and you're on edge with what if. You're not stuck in your day-to-day, this is the way it is, humdrum, whatever. There's an openness. And I think, that in some ways that's what gratitude does on some level, because when you have to stop and open up and acknowledge, what you're grateful for, it opens you up to more, and the things become different and smaller, seemingly smaller, or, you encompass more. And, Brene Brown talks about what separates privilege from entitlement is gratitude. What separates privilege from entitlement is gratitude. And so I think when we're not in gratitude a lot of the times, well, we're very entitled people, right? I mean, we look around and I notice all the time, how upset, a kid gets if the internet service goes out, or this happens, or, all these things that we're just so used to. And we're very privileged people, right? I mean, we're very entitled, and so how do we go back to knowing that it's all a gift? It's not, none of it's real, but none of it's, guaranteed. And that's how we stay in gratitude, like not knowing if the sun's going to come up in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
None of it's guaranteed, and at the same time, it's all good. I mean, in the sense that we can find, if we are honest with ourselves, I believe, and true to ourselves, we can see the blessings or the things to be grateful for in all of it. When the internet goes down and everybody has to talk to each other, that can be interesting, those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wayne. God's got everybody's back. All right. I hear you.
I'm going to talk about, it's like we can talk about gratitude, and we all nod our heads saying, yeah, this is good. And, and then we'll go away from a talk like this, and nothing's changed. And I want to talk about the growing edge, and the growing edge is where the magic happens. The growing edge is oftentimes when we hit bottom, is when we touch the growing edge. It's kind of the spectrum is our very highs and our very lows. But I think if I look in my life, it's my lows that have grown me more than my sunny, Disneyland days. and I love Disneyland. But you know what I'm saying? It's like we know from brain chemistry that bad experiences are thrown into our neural networks at about 10 or more times the intensity of good memories. So it's important to recognize that when we have a bad experience, that's going to be very powerful, much more powerful than a good experience. So that being said, looking at, when the bad stuff happens, when we have those stormy days, bad relationships, loss, grief, then in those times, that brings us to our growing edge, the opportunity to look beyond, to look in the midst of that. Okay, now that I'm here, now that I'm in stormy seas and the water's coming in on the boat, and it doesn't look good. At that point, what am I not necessarily grateful for, but what do I want to do now? Do I want to complain about the storm, the weather, and all of that, which I can't do anything about? But what can I do something about? And that's our growing edge. How curious, how creative can we be when we're faced with the inevitable? Because we will. When we face our death, when we face deaths of our loved ones, our pets, all of this, our parents, all of this comes. It's like, how do I want to hold this? How do I want to hold endings? And that again goes, what is it that I want? And is it even possible to practice? And yes, the good news is it's possible to practice. You practice on the little things. Like, wow, that's a great cup of coffee this morning. Or wow, isn't that? And you just sort of build your gratitude muscle so that it becomes almost habitual, so that you can easily see in the midst of all of this, that what Gil was saying, yeah, I can find the good in anything. As horrible as it is, because however horrible it is will be my mental interpretation. But I can shift that mental interpretation into where is the pony? Where's the pony in this pile of horse manure in this corral? I know there's a pony in here somewhere. We actually can find it, but that takes curiosity. And recognizing that this is the growing edge, this is the opportunity. It's not our sunshiny days. It's the tough times.
I wrote down a question for us. How does being in the groove support us? Because we call this gratitude groove, and I'm thinking, it's about, like you say, it's the practice on the basic stuff, which when something that's more challenging shows up, we have the experience of the background to know, oh, if I take a minute with this, it's a good possibility I can turn this around. I can at least shift my feeling about it, and I think that's kind of being when we're in that groove of being in gratitude, then even the things that most people look at and go, what are you talking about? We can shift ourselves into some form of gratitude around it. That's what I'm thinking anyway.
I was in preparing for this, I found a couple little, I'll read them. They're very short. I am thankful for the teenager who is not doing the dishes, but she is watching TV, because that means she's at home and not on the street. I'm grateful for the taxes I pay because it means I'm employed.
That's right.
I'm grateful for the mess and to clean up after a party because it means I have friends. And it goes on and on. They're really cute, but it's so true.
It's true.
It's true.
And it's the smallest things.
Yeah.
You know, it's the smallest things, but it's the smallest things, and they can also lead you to the biggest things, you know, because, you know, I think there's times when if I can be in gratitude, you know, for, I don't know, I'm making
Your husband?
Well, okay, if I can be in gratitude for like Gil and I having a fight and like some stance that he's taken, on some level that's leading me to forgiveness and to more love. So it's this like a stepping stone to a lot of other emotions. It's, you know, if I can truly touch gratitude in my heart and be grateful, then I can't be angry in the same way. Doesn't mean he was right. No, you know what I mean. It doesn't mean that there's not something to talk about. It doesn't dismiss the situation. It just means at the end of the day, what's more important and where am I coming from? And how, you know, it's like so many times in our house, you know, I'll remind people we're having a first world problem here, you know, and they're freaking out about things. I'm like, okay, you know, it's bigger than this, everybody. Hello, you know. So, you know, like last night we ordered food. And when one of my godsons got his box, he was like, wait, where are my shrimp? My shrimp aren't on the plate. I was like, oh my God. You know, I mean, there was a plate of everything else. It was the biggest plate I'd seen, you know, but he was upset, you know, there was no shrimp. And we're all going, oh, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, we'll give you that, trying to, you know, and it's like, are you hungry? Because just be grateful. Just be grateful.
It's such a great story of how we try to control life and control what is given and the flow of things. And then how we rail against reality. Oh, it's raining today, or it's cold today, or it's this, or it's that. Oh, God, it's sunny today. Oh, no, I'm going to have to water because it's going to be too hot. I mean, it's always something. And
always something. Isn't that the great statement?
Something.
It's always something.
And where is that generated but between my ears? And it's my problem. It's you know, my cats don't care. It's not the cat's problem. And it's only my problem if I make it my problem. And so how can I be grateful for what's given? How can I just rest in what's given, knowing that that is sufficient?
And you know what I think it is we really don't believe we have power. And so we consistently give power away. We consistently push things away, thinking, you know, that if we blame it on something else, then that's helpful. And the reality is because we're doing that, we're simply giving away any power we have to change our lives. And I think we're afraid of the power that we have to enjoy life, to be in connection with people, to really see the perfection in what's around us and in our lives.
Well,
that's what came up for me.
We're going to have to put a pin in that one because you just opened up a whole nother topic. So are we afraid? Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great conversation, and unfortunately our time is up.
Yep.
So I know it happens fast. It happens in an instant.
Yeah.
But
And before we let Christopher go, I just wanted to share John's comment. I always love seeing you, Christopher, because you notice me and recognize me in a warm and friendly and lovely way. And I just wanted to make sure that you heard that,
Oh,
because I think that's a lot. That's a very good description of who you are,
oh, thank you.
and who you are to me.
I-
You're very willing to throw wrenches at me and those kinds of things and recognize who I really am, and I appreciate that.
and
So I know John's feeling. Go
I
ahead.
think it's a really good invitation because Christopher does that without even knowing that that's what he's doing.
Right.
And so if we can put attention on that, on who we are and how we are with people, those are the little things that people are grateful for that we may never even know about. And so I am going to leave you with one more quote that says, enjoy the little things, for one day you may look back and realize that they were the big things.
Nice.
And
Very
that is gratitude, my friends.
That is gratitude.
So
Beautiful.
we're so grateful. We're grateful for having you. We're grateful for all of you out there. So excited. And we will be back with you next week, talking more about the joys and the oys of the season. So join us. And that's it. We'll see you next week.
I just want to say that, you can find Christopher around at many New Thought centers around the Bay Area on a Sunday morning. So keep your eye out if you want to hear more.
Yeah, if you'd like to know how to get in touch with him, just shoot us an email and we'll be happy to send you his information and speaking schedule. Oh, that just sounds so official, right? Okay, we love you all. Keep on rocking the love. Take it out into the world. Bye.